G'day people, Wakey Bakeys time. Where are we? Boom, hello. Oh, look at that. Full fucking wake and bake. It's time to wake up. Let's cover that up. Didn't realise I was so open. Alright. So there's a bit been happening in the news and that this week. I was just scrolling through a bit earlier while I was making my coffee here. Put that over there. And I did play around with the camera settings a little bit and stuff again too, so it's looking a bit slightly different. Maybe I meant to be there or something, I don't know. Anyway, alright, let's go with that. I'll pull up a screen share in a minute and we'll start with that. Where am I up to here? There, sorry. I'm just looking for this. And then we'll go through, well, there's something there about the push for decriminalisation in New South Wales. So we might see, well, it says it's inevitable, and politicians say it's inevitable, so we'll go through that article. All these articles I've just been gathering during the week, and some this morning as well, so I don't actually look at a lot of them. I might have a quick look at the first paragraph or two sometimes, but I don't on purpose because I figure we can go through them together. I only look at the first paragraph or two just so I know what's going on a bit, if they're from earlier in the week. The ones that are I've just pulled up this morning and last night, I haven't gone through it all. Oh, better put that on the silent so we don't have notifications going off. Alright, I'll pull up a screen so we can start having a look. If you haven't already and you like stuff, hit us a oh, where is it? Oh, that way. Subscribe thing. Off it goes that way. I'll get used to that. Let me just get around a quick list here. Here we are. Alright, so yeah, we've got the New South Wales politicians say cannabis decriminalisation inevitable after report points to unequal system. We have Mamma Mia News Corp taken to court over medicinal cannabis ads. And it doesn't actually say much more about that one yet, so we're going to have a quick look around for that one ourselves. The Therapeutic Goods Administration has dragged Mamma Mia and News Corp. I'll pull this up actually, just give me one sec. Pull this one up, but there's not much more on this one anyway. Keep going through the other ones we got first. So we got that one. Have a quick look at alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs in Australia. So what's this one again? I don't know why I pulled this one up. Just give me one moment. I'll work it out. Third, I think it's just basically saying that, yeah, okay, this one. Cannabis remains the most popular illicit, and controlled substance in Australia. Has been for a long time and is in a lot of other places in the world too. The two most common subspecies within the cannabis genus from which cannabis is harvested, the cannabis sativa and cannabis indica. Cannabis comes in three main forms: herbal cannabis, also referred to as marijuana. Okay. Okay. Guess it's not wrong. Cannabis resin, hashish, the dried resin from the hashish plant. Yep. Hashish oil, which is cannabis oils, of course. We'll go through that. We'll go through the rest of that together. Like I say, the New South Wales politicians say decriminalisation is inevitable. I didn't see this one, but this is something else. Oh, that's right. It's unfortunate. It's just random news, but we'll go through that one at the end. There was a unfortunate turn of events for someone down south there when a tree fell on their house and exposed a road. Reminds me of that one in Christchurch when they had the big earthquakes and there was that grow house hanging out the top of a building. Kind of explain, it happens, I suppose. In fact, that's more often than not, how it happens is bad luck, something like that. I knew someone else that had something like that. I think it was a fire, or it wasn't related either, but a fire or a tree or something fell on their house, same kind of thing. Almost $2 million worth of illegal cannabis weeded out. All right, let's pull some of these up. We'll start with this one, why not? Start with some old school style news, which is the busting people, bastards. Well, let's have a look at what they busted. There we go. All right. I need to get this rolled up. We've got to do this, and then I've got to head off. Other things to do for the day, unfortunately. Got to get out in the sun, which is good. And we'll do a little I'll drop some shorts. I've been dropping some shorts on YouTube. I'll drop some more shorts on YouTube as I do that. There is a TikTok account, but I haven't put anything on there. Let me know if you just want me to do TikTok at all, and I'll start dumping stuff on there. Otherwise, there's all the show times that we're doing live, including this one. It's 3 or 4 a day now. Day. That'd do me. Do me in. 3 or 4 a week. Yeah. We got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday. Yeah. Doing a tip this morning rather than a filter, so it may be a bit coffee. We'll see what happens. I felt like shit yesterday, so I'm a little bit behind the running gun this morning. But well, yesterday I should say, I'm catching up from yesterday. But yeah, it was pretty shit yesterday. Bit of a bug thing going on. Managed to wipe it overnight. Alright. And I also played around with the sound a touch again too, because after that last video I noticed it may have been a little bit tinny. But so I've just tried to turn it in a bit better. Let me know if anyone has any suggestions for making it better, if it needs it. Well, without getting a new, mic, which I don't think I really need yet. I've noticed on the phones and all that, the sound, it must adjust it. It comes through a lot better than it actually does on my computer. But my computer's quite tinny for sound, for anything actually, so it's a hard one for me to really judge it on. Alright, where's my lighter? Okay, police kicked down the door of suburban New South Wales. Address, okay. What's this one? Oh yeah, this is, okay. How old is this? I didn't actually look at that. I just pulled it up in the others there I was looking at. Let's have a quick look. How old is this article? Oh, this is like this is 2022. What the fuck? Why did it give me this? How did this come up in my fucking list of fucking shit I was looking at? Oh, well, good. That's old, gone. Hopefully that's not going on as much. Piss off. There we go. What was this one? This one was months ago too, so I don't know why I've got that. Why did that come up? Why? But this one's not. Okay. So this one's obviously current from a few days ago there, or last week now. I must have just missed this on the last Wake and Bake actually, or Friday's Pride updates. We'll cover it some more when we get there. New South Wales politicians say cannabis decriminalisation inevitable after report points to unequal system. Recommendation to decriminalise backed by 6 or 7 committee members, including Labor, Liberal and crossbench MLC. That's pretty good. It's pretty good if they're all, that's all of them, pretty much. Yeah. No, that's good to see. All right. No, that's just another headlines. What do we got? Recommended means government acts the maximum 2-year custodial sentence for people found with a small quantity of cannabis. 2 years for a small quantity of cannabis. You fucking cunts. What a fucking crock. They have all this money go to fucking petty shit like this, or, you know, enforcing petty shit like this and locking people up just occasionally. And then they go hunting for money in other areas. You fucking morons. Why don't you just fucking legalise this shit and make money out of it and stop hunting for money everywhere else? Because you're fucking spending it in the wrong areas and other fucking spots. Fucking, it's not fucking rocket science. It's just politics. So, certainly not going to find any fucking rocket scientists in politics. Oh, hold on. Oh yeah, but they don't last, do they? They get fucking squeezed out. And not here. Although I wouldn't say he's a rocket scientist, is he? He employs them. Inquiry found the current regime is okay. New South Wales government members have suggested cannabis reform is inevitable in the state after a parliamentary inquiry found the current regime is discriminatory because people with means can. Okay, yeah, we did sort of cover this. I remember now. We covered where it was going. I think the submission. So they can obtain medical cannabis legally while others are criminalised. You know, I think that comes down to, I think you'll find some people with certain mental health issues have had a lot of trouble getting cannabis prescribed, even though there is, you know, the correlation isn't there. Yeah, okay. So the New South Wales Upper House inquiry released its landmark report into the effectiveness of cannabis regulation last week. The recommendations to decriminalise and consider legalisation were backed by 6 of the 7 committee members, including Labor, Liberal, crossbench, legislative members. 1 Liberal member voted against the recommendations. Oh, well, he's a fuckwit. Or she, sorry. Or it, whatever the fuck, I don't care. Oh, no, it wouldn't be in that one, would it? I don't know. The committee, chaired by the Legalised Cannabis Party MLC Jeremy Buckingham, recommended the Minns government immediately axe the maximum 2-year custodial sentence for people found with a small quantity of cannabis and instead replace it with a fine. Well, actually, Jeremy, that's not fucking good enough because it needs to be legalised. We've seen what decriminalisation does, and it doesn't go far enough. You just end up people getting fined a lot more, or getting a lot of fines. I love the effort, but it's got to be full legalisation. Decriminalisation just doesn't go far enough. But yeah, locking people up for 2 years is just ridiculous. But let's, you know, that seems crazy. But, you know, they do crazy shit, don't they? But yeah, replace it with a fine. So yeah, I guess it's better than going there. But then again, you have them running around trying to find like speeding tickets and shit, you know. They'll be trying to fucking parking tickets, probably better analogy, I suppose. Be trying to find them everywhere so they get that extra fucking revenue and fines. Just like they have in other decriminalised areas. Needs to be, I mean, how's the ACT work? It's not fully legalised, obviously, is it? But it is. I suppose it's only decrim there too, isn't it? I suppose. Let's go back and have a look at that on Friday. The report said New South Wales should decriminalise the personal use and possession of cannabis. Should legalise personal use and possession of cannabis. But at least decriminalisation is something. The government should then engage in a staged process. But you see, it might be something or it might not. I'm going to get some others to weigh in on this that have been, you know, they stay out of it. They stay out of the politics and everything, but they tend to actually see it. The reason they stay out of it is because they see it for what it is. And I can tell you now, every time they've sort of told me where things were heading, they were 100% right. So I'll ask them, or the couple of people there I'm thinking of in particular anyway, in regards to what their thoughts are on this. If it's going to be a good or a bad thing, or how it's going to be manipulated to be used against us, which is often the case. The government should then engage in a staged process of reform and review and consider legislating to legalise the use of cannabis by adults in a manner that eliminates the illicit market so far as is possible. Well, it's not fucking hard. You legalise it first, and it's a great step, and you'll find that market is really decimated, including all that PGR shit. You'll see a lot less of that too. I mean, you already are, which is good. Those fuckers who make and sell it, hopefully are making a lot less now, because fuck mate, they were making tons out of that shit. Filthy amounts. In fact, they've built, the people who sell all that crap have built several brands and shit that you wouldn't even know. We're backed and created using the money from it. Allegedly. But, we're not mentioning any names anyway, so it doesn't matter. The government should, because I'm talking about legal PGRs anyway, which, as you know, they're out there on the market. I don't know if they still are, maybe they are. Hopefully not. I'd say they are, but that eliminates the illicit market. Okay, so that's not hard. Just legalise it, and then we've got a whole new industry created overnight, almost immediately. So then we also improve employment straight away. So what do we do if we legalise cannabis? One, well, I guess we stop wasting money on ridiculous court cases and, and jail terms and things like that. So obviously that's going to be a big saver. Two, we create a whole new industry that's there anyway, but currently is a black market industry, and the government basically gets nothing of, sort of black markets, governments do take into account. So yeah, that's creates that whole industry and starts to remove that black market, depending on how well they do it. I mean, if they tax the fuck out of it like they have done with the tobacco, well, it's doomed. You're going to have the massive. Well, look at I'd say the black market around tobacco now in Australia is bigger than it ever was. I've seen more illegal cigarettes and illegal tobacco and the vapes and things than I've ever seen in my life in the last few, since they basically made, what is it, cigarettes and stuff, $60-$70 a packet. I don't, smoking may not be good for you. We've been doing it for thousands of years, but it doesn't matter, whatever. But the point is that $60-$70 a packet, which is mostly tax, is just fucking ridiculous. And of course it's going to create a black market. I mean, how fucking stupid are you? It's just pure greed, really, isn't it? Because that's what they're after. They're after fucking maximum tax dollars on it. So it's an easy target, really, tobacco, isn't it, nowadays? We know. Perhaps because of the way that the companies were at times with their misleading advertising and things. But the truth is, I don't know if anyone was really misled that much, because everyone knew they were always called cancer sticks and things. Anyway, off on a tangent with the tobacco thing, but point is that, the way tobacco is legal, and it didn't have such a big. I mean, there's always been black markets. I'm sure you've always been able to get illegal cigarettes here and there. I'm sure, but when you paid $50 for a carton of cigarettes, which I know is long gone. Okay, that's like the 90s. Yeah, like early 90s. And you paid that much for a carton nowadays, or do you say even, well, I don't know, what's a carton? It must be almost $500 a fucking carton. Fuck me. It'd have to be, wouldn't it? So, fucking heap anyway, but that's the same. If you're paying, say, more, $150 a carton nowadays, maybe, I don't know, $100 a carton? No, it would have to be say $150 a carton, because what are you getting, 10 packets to a carton, right? Well, if they just reduce those taxes overnight, there goes a whole black market with that one, the tobacco. Going off on a tangent here, but it is kind of related, depending on how they decide to tax the cannabis, if they fully legalise it. They can either do it properly here, or they can really fuck it up like they have done with the tobacco. Because all I see with the tobacco now is they must be losing. Well, they're not getting any of fuck all of that tax now because, I mean, look at you see it. The criminal market with the tobacco is insane. But we won't. That's a whole different story. But the point is that this could go the same kind of path if they do it wrong and get greedy, or it could be done right and they will have that black market reduced and disappear. I guess mostly. You're always going to have black markets. It's just a fact of life. Some people, want to do some things themselves, I suppose. Well, I suppose it doesn't mean there's necessarily a black market, but if they're growing well, let's see what happens. That's what I'm saying. Everyone needs to be able to legally grow as well, in my opinion. Anyway, let's continue on with the article. We're off on that tangent. Okay, the government should then engage in a staged process of reform, review, and consider legislating to legalise the use of cannabis by adults in a manner that eliminates the illicit market so far as possible and creates a safe, regulated, and accessible statewide market for legal cannabis. As I just said, don't follow the model that you've done with your tobacco taxing and stuff, because that's just out of control. I mean, well, that's the point I was going to get with the tobacco there, is that I don't think there's anywhere in the world that you pay that price for cigarettes. I think Australia is the only place in the world where you will pay that kind of amount for cigarettes. I know I've had people come here that do smoke and they will never visit Australia again, really, not just because of the cigarettes, but because of the price of everything compared to everywhere else they've been in the world. And these people do, they're global, but Australia just drains them. So they only really come here once or twice, or if they have to for business. That's it. Because Australia, it's like that old Simpsons episode. They say something about just sucking every cent out of the Simpsons while they're there, while they're here, taxing them with this and that and so on. And so now it's just all in what you pay for. The government should then, the Labor MLCs, Stephen Lawrence and Cameron Murphy, who were part of the committee, said decriminalisation and potential legalisation of cannabis was inevitable. Yep. Okay. Well, I hope so. I think it is, isn't it? Eventually it is inevitable one day. We know that. It's just, man, drag this fucking out, aren't I? The evidence in the inquiry shows the advantaged have designed a system where, see, this is kind of true. Because I know people like this who, if you're cashed up, now there's no worries. Stuff like, So the evidence in the inquiry shows the advantaged have designed a system where they are allowed to smoke their easily obtained medicinal cannabis, often for recreational purposes, while we punish the rest, sometimes harshly. I don't know about that. And recreation R&R is actually a medicinal. It's good for your health, R&R. Recoup and recreation. Recreation, recoup, whatever. It's very good for your health, R&R. That's why it's often suggested. While we punish the rest harshly, okay. Sounds like this person may be a little bit skewed and thinks that the all your medical people are some kind of, or they've set it all up to supply their own cannabis or something. No, mate, they're making businesses and they're trying to supply what is a needed thing. And when you can't stop fucking around and actually get this legalised properly, they'll be able to supply that market too. You fuckwits. The evidence in the inquiry shows the advantage. Okay, whatever. The only question is how soon Australian governments actually lead on the issue, if not if. Sorry, there's something beeping. Shut that up. Not if. The report offers a pathway that can be careful, gradual, and bipartisan. I scrolled. I've gone down a bit too far. I'm sorry. The Premier Chris Minns spoke in favour of legalising cannabis in 2019, while in opposition. Yeah, this is talking about him last week, but he's backflipped now. No surprise. Saying the government doesn't have a mandate to do so, and it's not on Labor's agenda. This is funny, and this is what they always do. This once they're actually got into power, and they backflip on their decisions. Right back to Bob Carr. I think he was one of the first on that. It's before him even moves that other wanker. Goes back for, I think, but I remember him as well. That, they all backflip because they fucking talk a lot of shit just to get the vote, and then they backflip as soon as they're in. That's how it works. I don't know what people keep falling for. A spokesperson for the Attorney General this week said the government was considering the report's recommendations. Yeah, okay. Found that while the widespread availability of medicinal cannabis in New South Wales is via a prescription from a GP was welcome, it was facilitating widespread non-medical use of cannabis. What? The committee found that while the widespread availability of medicinal cannabis in New South Wales via prescription from a GP was welcome, it was facilitating widespread non-medicinal use of cannabis. Do these people realise just how many people use cannabis, both medicinally and non-medicinally, every single day? Do these people realise that probably, I don't know, 80% of the people that are on the medicinal are on it because it's their only access to get cannabis legally in Australia? How fucking dumb are these people, really? And how can they not see that people just want to smoke some weed, you fucking idiots? You want to go drink some piss and have a glass of wine, maybe, I don't know. Don't know what the fuck it is that does it for you. But whatever it is, that does it for you. But you know what? A lot of people just want to smoke a bit of weed and grow a bit. And it shouldn't have anything to do with you because it doesn't fucking bother you or hinder you in any way whatsoever. You're just fucking supporting these arcane laws that have no place in modern society. Just fucking legalise it already and stop fucking us all around. Fuck me. Was this just so you just can get up there every week and have a big wank in Parliament and talk shit to each other, backwards and forwards for fucking months and get paid for it until you fucking actually do something about it? This has been going on for fucking decades. Like I say, you keep backflipping when you get in there anyway. One of yous get in there and fucking legalise it and be done with it. Fuck, once laws are in, they're very hard to fucking turn around. We know that. This is why we're dealing with this now. Just fucking legalise it already. Get it done, you fucking morons. It's not that hard, you know. It's not that hard to work it out. And that's the problem, isn't it? You just can't fucking work it out. You fucked up with the tobacco. Look what you've done with that. You have fucked that up royally. And I fear you're going to do the same thing with this. The way with what you've done with tobacco in Australia is just fucking ridiculous, mate. There's so much fucking black market around that it's not funny. You'd think the fucking people running all that black market, vapes and tobacco and legal cigarettes must have fucking pretty good fucking pay packets going to you lot because fuck, it doesn't seem to be, you haven't adjusted the laws or anything. You're not combating it in any way whatsoever. I think I've heard of you doing raids and that's not going to fucking do shit. They just pay the fine and they open up again the next day with all the vapes and the same shit again. And it's obvious. This is just fucking corruption at its best. How can they not see that their laws and the taxes that they've imposed on tobacco have actually created a bigger problem? There's a bigger black market there. I'm not saying, of course you tax tobacco and tax it, but it's ridiculous how much it's taxed, and that's what's brought on such a bad black market, and they're going to do the same thing here, especially if they go about, you can see it, they're going to do the same thing. Okay. The committee found, okay, we've done that. This highlights the inequity, oh fuck, I can't say that. Inequity. I can't say that word today, so we're skipping it. and arbitrary nature of the current criminalisation of cannabis, whereby the criminal status of a person now depends on their capacity to obtain a prescription from a doctor. So does that mean, I didn't know this, does that mean that if you've, this highlights in, does that mean if you've been in trouble for cannabis, you can't get a prescription? The committee found, okay, it was facilitating what, okay, that's that part. This highlights, okay, yeah, okay, sorry, I'll get it. All right, so yeah, you're a criminal if you can or can't obtain medical, which I guess that's kind of true because of the way it's set up. Because they're just trying to ignore what is the truth, I guess, and that is that people want to smoke some fucking weed, mate, and they don't want you like fucking telling them how to do it and what to do. They've been doing it for fucking thousands of years anyway, and despite your laws, they've been doing it for fucking decades. Hasn't made any fucking difference. There's no direct correlation with things like schizophrenia and cannabis. Have a look. Look it up. Look up the graphs, mate. There's no change. In fact, there's probably more people smoking cannabis. And if, you know, the only increase in schizophrenia or any mental health problems is the fact that the population, that's the correlation. The population goes up and the graph goes up. The cannabis one stays the same, like in correlation. It's not related. It's fucking ridiculous. We'll get in that one another time. The inquiry found that irrespective of the merits of decriminalisation and legalisation, the maximum 2-year prison penalty for being found in possession of a small quantity of cannabis was absurd, draconian, and antiquated. Fuck off, cunt. Draconian was enough. All right. But yeah, he's right. They're right, 100%, of course. That is absurd. This degree of criminalisation, which has persisted for many, and I bet you, I hate to say it, but I bet you the colour of your skin can be a thing, and you know, like, you know, you're more likely to get locked up if you're white. This degree of criminal, that's not, I'm just joking, right? This degree of criminalisation, which has persisted for many decades, is irrational and an affront to the community's sense of justice and can be remedied by the Parliament in a way consistent with the policy position of the government. The committee found that the presence of cannabis in a person's system did not necessarily indicate a person was impaired, well, we know that. The report stated that criminal regulation of cannabis had not achieved its aim of reducing use and that decriminalisation in other jurisdictions had not led to a material increase in use. Two-tier justice system when it came to cannabis use yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. So it's a two-tier justice system. He's right. I mean, it's the same with other things too, isn't it? I guess, sort of. Not really. It is different. I mean, we know it. That's the thing. It is different. The whole, everything about it's different. It's, I mean, as we know, it's only in the last 80 odd years that it's been considered an issue suddenly. Before that, it wasn't an issue. Just needed something else to decriminalise, to demonise after the end, alcohol prohibition and things. To remove personal use, quantity cannabis possession offences from okay. All right, so on to the next one we're going to look at. I guess this one was related. Okay, that one's about there. This one's about the that's the most popular drug still, or illicit drug in Australia. It's most commonly smoked in a rolled cigarette joint or water pipe. Gives you a few options. Often in combination with, why wouldn't they say pipe? I know heaps of people have the old little pipes. But it may also be added to food and eaten. Cannabis oil is generally applied to the cannabis herb or tobacco and smoked or heated and the vapors inhaled. Really? Yeah, I guess it is actually, they're right about that. Maybe we did this anyway, this survey. We used to contribute to some of these, the Yellowstone's website. Maybe not this mob. Used to do some of the unis there. Growers survey things. The main psychoactive ingredient, yep. Flowering tops, yeah, we know all that. There's more than 70 unique chemicals that are collectively, okay, what am I looking at here? I can't remember. Alcohol. I think this is the one just about there. There you go. There you see. Continues to be the most widely used illicit drug in Australia, with 11.5% of people having recently used it in 2023. That figure was heaps higher before, I don't know. I guess they haven't changed. That's a bit old though, 2023, isn't it? I bet you that's increased because this is prior to your full, yeah, no, this is big. So they've got 2023 for the people with this. This is interesting. Cannabis continues to be the, okay, so in 2020 to 23, 52%, yeah. Like, oh, fuck, half of all national. Well, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, considering the amount of other things out there. The number of people using cannabis for medicinal purpose has remained stable. Well, it's only the 2023. That's 2 years ago. (2022 to 23), almost 1 in 4 people aged 20 to 29 used cannabis in the past 12 months. I believe that's much higher now. It's 2 years ago. But I don't think, I thought that figure was different. But anyway, I guess it's not. Personal approval, maybe I looked at different studies. Personal approval of cannabis used by free smoke. Okay. Sure, better hurry up. And cannabis was the third most. Yeah, okay, we know. Good information page, I suppose. I'll dump all this stuff in the description links later on. I'll update the post and trim it out and stuff. Hydroponics being the highest availability. Okay, let's skip past that. I was really just talking about the fact that it's still the most popular illicit, or currently illicit drug or heavily controlled substance now, I suppose. Always has been heavily controlled, actually. Yeah, it's still, it was controlled. So if you had it and you didn't have the reasons, licensing to have it, I guess it was illegal. But it's always been controlled. All these substances are very heavily controlled to the near point of, as you know, you can't actually get access, which causes nothing but problems with research and stuff like that. Politicians, we did that one. Oh yeah, this is the lawyer. That's the one I was looking at before. So there's not much on this. Mamma Mia News Corp taken to court over medicinal cannabis ads. So you've seen the ads, I suppose. I've seen them. I don't know. I don't know what they're going for, unless they hadn't removed things like the previous terms that they've told they can't use. So the Therapeutics Goods Administration has dragged Mamma Mia and News Corp and Body Plus Soul magazine to federal court over alleged unlawful medicinal cannabis advertising. I'm guessing none of them have any of that on there. Any advertising going on right now. Oops, my caps lock keys just popped out. But that's it. Oh, I've got to access the, okay. All right. Yeah, that cost me money. I'll have a look. Let me see. I'll do it in the background here. Give me 1 sec. Let's call it Old Stoners. If it costs money, though, I'm not doing it. It costs money. I'm not doing it at the moment, but I will get access to this. $52 every month. By looks of it. All right, so I can't look at that today. Sorry, because I haven't got $52 to pay for it. Otherwise, I would. But I'm sure we'll see something come out on more on that. Let's just have a quick look, I suppose, and see what I can find. Whoops, wait, highlight. Unlawful. Whoops. Cannabis advertising. Australia. Pull that up. Have a look at that later. High stakes. No, okay. Yeah, well, that's probably interesting too. We want the news though, if we can find it. And past week, that. Let's have a look at that too, eh? Let's have a quick look at that one. I'll have a quick skim over that one. This one. That's today. Let's have a look at this one. Alright. APRA takes action against more than 50 practitioners in medicinal cannabis crackdown 4 hours ago. He looks pretty happy. The Australian Health Practitioner Regulation Agency CEO Justin Untersteiner, says the regulator held serious concerns for patient safety. Okay. In short, APRA has taken action against 57 medicinal practitioners, pharmacists and nurses over medicinal cannabis prescribing practices. New guidelines have been issued. So these guys are just going to fuel the black market again, obviously, here by the looks of it. They're going to make this black market surge again, you watch. And we'll see more PGR bud and crap again that people have no option but to access instead. Don't you get it, Brady? They're not going to stop accessing it, Justin. They're just going to find another means. So if you're actually concerned about people's health, this is not the answer. This is not the answer, mate. Because if you understood what street stuff's like, you wouldn't be forcing people back to it. In fact, go after the cunts who have destroyed the quality of the street stuff, because they're the ones who have done the most damage to anyone's health in Australia. New guidelines have been issued after a surge in prescriptions that the regulator said was leading to a significant patient harm. Okay, mate. Like I said, it's product. It's the quality of product that's the most important thing. I mean, for fuck's sake, you can see that from your old rock and roll stars, mate. It's the quality of product with anything that's the most important. And pushing people to a black market creates much bigger health issues. How do these people not see the bigger picture? I mean, they're smart people. How do they not see it? How can't they see that? Like, they're obviously smart people. These the doctors are professionals. They just can't see. I guess they lack common sense. Must it? That's all. I mean, that's pretty common for people of quite high intelligence to lack common sense and not really see things properly in that regard, because they've got a different level of thinking, I guess, maybe, to give them credit. And then, of course, some of them are just fucking skewed in their own beliefs and think that everyone should do as they think and be as they think. or do, or whatever. APRA today released new guidelines. Okay, so we've got more. We've had this. Urging prescribers to put patient well-being above profits. You're not getting it. You're not getting it. It's not going to stop them, mate. They're just going to go access that PGR shit that'll probably give them cancer and then end up clogging up the medical system worse than if they were able to access, well, medical cannabis, which has been tested, to be fair. It doesn't have molds in it, doesn't have the PGRs. If you think it does, go to another brand. But I guarantee you most of them don't. Some of them may use it in small quantities, but it would not be in the product once because they get tested. Can't be in the product. But even so, it would still reduce the quality of the weed, but it would give them more weight. So they may be some that are using it, I guess, but you know, their product will be shitter than everyone else's. So the regulator said some businesses were using aggressive and sometimes misleading advertising that targets vulnerable I need more liquid, vulnerable people, and online questionnaires that coached patients to say the right thing to justify prescribing. Yeah, I don't know. Haven't for any that I ever contacted, they didn't. Well, I don't know, they didn't. Yeah. The ABC can reveal APRA has now taken action against 57 medical practitioners, pharmacists, and nurses over. So that's all, you know, the ones you call for your telehealth stuff. Medicinal cannabis prescriber and practice. So you just cause it's causing a lot of shit for these people, you know, instead of just letting business go on. I like the sneaky advertising they got going in this this picture, and they sneak that one in. There's been a few product advertisements going. They're all placed the right way too. Look at that. Nice work. It's kind of ironic. There you go. I mean, is that they've even got a product? They've got a. This is a fucking product. You've got a product right here. Is this you're advertising a medical product? Oh, this is the ABC. I suppose it's not them, is it? But they're advertising a medical product in the article that's talking about APRA going after people for advertising medical products. And look at that. Look at that product placement. Around the right way too. Even the lighter. Look at that. Both of these product placements. 100%. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I mean, they should have probably got rid of that and, like, you know, blurred it out or something. Because that they can't have. It's funny, isn't it? It's ironic. I shouldn't say it's funny. But anyway, I find that amusing, that fact that the article about advertising medicinal cannabis has an advertisement, product placement advertisement, I guess, kind of. Because that's why I don't, you know, I never put anything on camera and stuff, because I'm not advertising anything. That's the whole point. I'm just going through news and talking about things. So I've become wary of trying not to have any products on the screen if they're around me. We're currently investigating a further 60 right now. Okay, here we go. 60 right now as we speak. So that's 100 odd. Okay, 120. 700. And for those that choose not to meet our requirements, we will be knocking on their door in the near future. So APRA chief. Okay, the crackdown comes after a series of ABC investigations revealed patients with a history of psychosis had been hospitalised after being prescribed medicinal cannabis, and one patient had died following inappropriate prescribing. I want to know more about that. That must have been this article here, was it? Yeah. So the same as the ABC. So you're doing some product placement advertising in this article, but then you've obviously tried to fucking someone demonise it in this other one. Where are we here? Well, it's a veterans targeted. What? Not targeted. Veterans ask about it, mate. It's fucking stupid. I'd say if they're not targeted. Oh, in the advertising is what they're doing, isn't it? I suppose maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen any that targets veterans directly though. Targeted by social media ads offering access to free medicinal cannabis. Well, I talked about it a while ago, if you remember, the access for veterans on their, like we went through their website and had a look at their page about it. We read through it, same as we're doing now. But I haven't seen anyone actually advertising that you can get, like, you know, on there. I guess I'm not a veteran, I suppose, so maybe that's why it'd be targeted, I guess, a lot of the time. And I guess I block a lot of ads and shit too, actually, is the other thing when I think about it. And I don't really scroll social media much, so I don't see those those ads on the walls and things. Veterans being targeted. Okay. Veteran can supplied medicinal cannabis to a man with a record of cannabis addiction who ended up in borderline psychosis and kept sending it even after he told them he was addicted. Another patient was bombarded with text to book an appointment as the DVA confirms it funded 35.99 million of medicinal cannabis in. You'll see, I don't know what's going on there, but that's kind of questionable, isn't it? I haven't switched over again, sorry. There we go, back to there, sorry. We flicked over to this article, which is about the, where were we? We were on this one. So these guys got their, you know, their product placement going here. Yeah, that was a while ago, isn't it? Sorry, I flipped over to this article and forgot to go back. This is the guy I was talking about. This is your Justin guy, you know, who's APRA and he's pushing everything we just spoke about. Sorry about that. But yeah, they've taken action against 57 medicinal practitioners, pharmacists, and nurses over, prescribing products. We were down to here, but I left you guys behind. I apologise. The health practitioner watchdog has put medicinal cannabis prescribers on notice. So we're down to here. So basically, this is the picture I was looking at where they've got a product in it on the article. I mean, he's at the top, and then he's down here with a medicinal cannabis product. But I guess it's not an ad, is it? And to be, except for the fact it's turned towards the camera, I would say it's not a intentional product placement. Let's go with that. But it is very sus looking photo. I just find it amusing and ironic, to be honest. The regulator had said we're using aggressive and sometimes misleading advertising that targets vulnerable people. Okay, so this is where I'd gotten to without you. We're back here together, and it came down to here where they're talking about this part. So this is where it gets interesting. The crackdown comes after a series of ABC investigations revealed patients with a history of psychosis had been hospitalised after being prescribed medicinal cannabis, and one patient died after following inappropriate prescribing. Now I want to know more about that. I'll have a look at it between now and Friday. The investigations also revealed concerns from doctors who said they were being treated like drug dealers and pressured to write medicinal cannabis scripts by the telehealth companies. No, I thought that a lot of them they were in, they were, the companies had their, I don't know, maybe they don't, it seems like. Maybe the ones working for them is what they're saying. Yeah. While APRA said the majority of practitioners do the right thing, the agency uncovered half a dozen who issued more than 10,000 scripts in a 6-month period, including one who issued over 17,000, or one every 4 minutes. One every 4 minutes in a working day. But they're busy. I mean, they are. A lot of them. There's a lot of people getting access, and there's not. They're going to get. They do get swamped. You've seen. I'm sure anyone who's accessed has seen that it's hard to get a booking. It's even harder now. So many people trying to get access to it, and there's only limited groups. A lot more than there was, but it's still limited. Mr. Untersteiner said the regulator held serious concerns for patient safety due to excessive and inappropriate prescribing. Now, like I was saying before, if he's trying to tighten it up, and that, I don't think he's going to help solve. If he's concerned about people's health, then look more about giving people access to a controlled recreational market on top of the medicinal market, because you're going to have people access both. You will still have people who want that medicinal avenue, of course, because it's a bit more personalized, and more tailored. And then you want the others who just want to maybe smoke a bit of weed on the weekend or something and have I mean, there's people get addicted to things maybe, but not the same. Alcohol, whatever. People are addicted to going to the gym. It's not necessarily good for you. Too much of anything. We've seen patients present to emergency departments with medicinal cannabis-induced psychosis, and this can particularly happen where there are patients that have pre-existing mental health conditions or substance abuse or other issues like that. So in other words, most of these people, I guess, are, as we know, generally, they're more than just cannabis. They're on a path of self-destruction anyway. So saying the cannabis, it's just another thing that they've added to their list of self-destruction. You know the type. They have to find themselves, or they're just destruct. Sometimes they come out. Maybe. Another area that worries us is prescribing excessive quantities or even prescribing multiple different prescriptions to a single patient. So they can well, that's the whole point of medications. You need to know what works for you. Again, that's completely inappropriate. No, it's not, because you do it with other drugs. You do it just one at a time, whatever. You can do this one at a time. You do it with other drugs, so what's the difference? The new APRA guidelines explicitly state that explicitly state that the exempt childhood The new APRA guidelines explicitly state that the exempt for childhood epilepsy, muscle spasms, and pain associated with multiple sclerosis, cancer, and chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting. There is little evidence to support the use of medicinal cannabis. Really, it seems contrary to what anyone's told me. I know a few people with cancer that actually believe it helps them. Well, it has helped them greatly. You're a load of shit, mate. You don't know what you're talking about. When you go out there and actually get in the world and meet some of these people, instead of just, what's the word I'm looking for here? These what is basically a minority, really. Or why don't you look behind these people that you're using in these stats, because I guarantee you there's more to the story. Always is. Always is. According to Therapeutic Goods Administration (TGA) data, the main conditions medicinal cannabis is being prescribed for it includes insomnia, which it helps with, chronic pain, which it helps with, and anxiety, which it helps with. The right strains and stuff. See, this is why it's very important that people actually do have access to a prescribed path as well, because people with anxiety and that, they do want the right strains. Otherwise, they're going to trigger their anxiety rather than treat it. Same with other drugs. You've got to find the right path. Otherwise, it's going to be more of a problem than it is benefit. The guidelines state medicinal cannabis should not be prescribed as a first-line treatment. Well, yeah, that's already the case, I've thought. I've tried other things for my migraines, didn't work. The oils and the sativas and stuff, well, they all work. Actually, sativas are the ones that sort of help with that a bit. Depends on the terpenes. That's I mean, it's not just about sativa indica anyway, or THC levels and stuff. That terpene levels is so important. They also insist patients be thoroughly assessed, proper medicinal records be taken, and an exit strategy is developed to help patients stop taking the medication. It does say on, if you have a look at some of the data sheets for medicinal cannabis, you will find that they say on there, you shouldn't stop taking this medication immediately, blah, blah, like a lot of medications. Same with most things. If you're an alcoholic, you shouldn't just stop drinking immediately either, really. You should wean off it because your body's going to go into shock. Same with lots of things. Most medicinal cannabis products prescribed in Australia are unapproved. Okay. Meaning, this is interesting. They've not been assessed by the TGA for safety, quality. So but they are tested. So they have not been assessed by the TGA for safety, quality, performance, or effectiveness. Something patients must now be informed of during consultations by the TGA, but they have been tested because you can get the data sheets and stuff. I think you'll find it. I can't show you, of course, but if you look at some of the products, you should find on the back somewhere, I think, something like a QR code or a website, somewhere where you can access the data sheet for that batch. Maybe there needs to be another regulatory board overlooking it all. I don't know. Maybe that'll just make things worse. Depends who's doing it. It'd probably be, in my experience, quite be a bit of irony, I'm sure, involved with the people they ended up choosing. The majority of cannabis products prescribed in Australia also contain THC, which causes psychoactive effects and makes them Schedule 8 medicines due to the risk of misuse, abuse, and potentially addictive properties. Yeah, okay, mate. Been smoking high-grade cannabis for about 35 years now. No worries here. And of all the people I've known in that 35 years, I think I've known, I said it the other week too, in one of them, I think I've known one to actually have any kind of psychological issues, but it wasn't to do with cannabis. They'd actually triggered that long before with something else. But then pretty much anything they had wasn't good for them. They did fry their brain. What was it? Green and gold caps from memory, not mushies. That's pills, mate, not cannabis. Funny that. But then cannabis would trigger him from that point on. He's dead now anyway. But not because of that. Completely different. The majority of cannabis, very, very sad actually. The majority of cannabis products prescribed in Australia, and the sad part was a lot of it was they tried to blame cannabis a lot of the time, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't. It was the other things like I just mentioned. We don't prescribe, and I guess the drugs that they actually had prescribed for him as well weren't a good mix. That's the other thing. It's kind of one or the other, isn't it? And back then didn't have the access like they do now, where they could actually be prescribed the correct stuff that didn't trigger anything. Because I think medicinal cannabis is a good thing, and everyone should have access to it, because this way they are at, so long as the practitioners are being responsible, I suppose, that is, of course, which in my experience they are, and getting to know the patient and their needs, because that's what doctors, practitioners do, isn't it? They get to know the patient and their needs, because that's what true medical medicine is it's tailored. It really is tailored to that person. It has to be, doesn't it? All medicine is generally, all medical help. What's what I'm looking for? It's tailored to you. If it's good. We don't prescribe opioids to every patient who asks for them. No, because it's a completely different fucking class, mate. And this is the thing, they've got it in the same class. And medicinal cannabis is no different. Yes, it is different. Maybe if you've had opiates and you've had cannabis, it's very fucking different, mate. Fucking idiot. Patient demand is no indicator of clinical need. Well, actually it is, because like I say, these R&R, these people are going to source it anyway. So all you're going to do is create bigger health problems for these people that currently are able to source a clean and consistent you know, quality of cannabis. So Susan O'Dwyer, you're going to fuck that up for everyone, and just basically you are going to cause people to access illegal cannabis, which is extremely bad for them. And if you knew anything about the kind of shit that people put in that crap, or that, you know, they provide people to grow and sell, you know, to get bigger yields and shit like this, then you would understand that pushing people back to the black market is not, that's not helping anyone at all, or the health system. All you're doing is causing a future problem again, which is, we're only just currently starting to, you know, what's happened in the last few years will be repairing what's already been caused. Stop fucking making the circle go around, for fuck's sake. Stop that pendulum. Just swing it the right way, or in the middle, whatever. APRA and the medical and nursing midwifery boards were said they were working with other regulatories like the TGA and many investigate practices of high rates of prescribing, even without receiving complaints. So basically, even if they haven't got any complaints, they're going to look at all. They're going after all these practitioners and groups. So I guess they must be bored. They just, yeah, they really don't like cannabis, do they? I guess it takes a lot of money out of other things. That's probably the true concern, and let's not go down that conspiracy killer theory path here, but I can't see how it wouldn't. It's obviously what's going on. Who would be pushing this kind of shit? Think about it. If you've got the money to push this kind of stuff and start pushing these groups to step up, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Patients and doctors are encouraged to report unsafe practices to help protect others by, okay, so, you know, there you go. If you're having any problems with doctors overly prescribing you drugs like, you know, cannabis or opiates or endones and things like that, you know, and you feel like they keep prescribing them to you when you shouldn't be, that's who you ring and report them to. I know they do it a lot with endone and stuff like that, so yeah, that's the number you want right there. If you feel they're doing it with cannabis, well, I guess as well, because I mean, they're not meant to be pushing it onto you. I've never had any of them push it onto me, so I can't say I've experienced that. I don't. They've been quite the opposite. I don't know where. It seems odd. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I want to know more about the people reporting, the people who are having these issues. I want to know more about that one. We'll go. So I'll find out more about that. Mishandled prescription death. See what was going on there. I'll search that and pop up during the week before Friday, maybe, if I can. I'm gonna have to get out of here in a minute. Multiple practitioners who issued more than 10,000 prescriptions for medicinal cannabis products in 6 months. Okay, concerning. I better scroll up. Sorry, I haven't lost you again. Am I? No, there we go. Multiple practitioners who issued more than 10,000 prescriptions for medicinal cannabis products in 6 months. Consultations lasting between a few seconds and a few minutes. Never had them that short or long. I've got to admit, they've always been a pretty good discussion. But maybe that's just me, because I will have a discussion. Failing to fully assess a patient's mental health and or history of substance use disorders leading to serious adverse outcomes such as psychotic episodes. Well, they do need, they should be fully assessing that so they know what to prescribe them. Or as they, you know, if you give, yeah, I do agree with that. I actually agree with that, of course. I thought they were, I mean, the good ones are doing this anyway, so I don't think that's a problem there with the good ones. I'm sure there's plenty of cowboys. I mean, look at the way it exploded. You're going to have a heap of cowboys fucking out there selling in the, you know, I mean, some of them, to be fair, some of them have had some stupid ads. And then the others have had your normal ads. I'm just trying to think the others, I think most of the ones I've gone through, I don't think I even see ads, so most of them don't even advertise. I've never actually gone through any of those ones that advertise. Not checking patient identity, including prescribing for people under 18. Really? I thought it went through the TGA though, because they send it off to the TGA to be approved. And then it comes back and you get your medicine. You know, apparently they're not checking for people's age either or something. I thought they did. I don't know. I don't know what the law is there. Are they allowed? Are you allowed to get it under 18? Maybe you're allowed it from 16. You're allowed to get, you know, to get nicotine prescribed from 16 and up now with the vape. So why not cannabis? Prescribing excessive quantities of medicinal cannabis in each prescription. Well, I guess nicotine affects your brain as well and development. So why one and not the other cuts? You double standard motherfuckers. That's what it is. You're just fucking full of shit. Not checking real-time prescription monitoring systems and therefore not being. You just don't have anything better to do, obviously. But then again, I get by the sound of it, there are some cowboys, and then that's the problem. See, you've had the cowboys carrying on, and they brought out these cunts. The cowboys bring out the fucking this shit. If the industry had to sort of slap the cowboys down maybe a bit, maybe they were, I don't know, then these guys wouldn't be popping up like this. That's what's going on. They got sick of it. They got sick of the stupid ads and that you've seen. You know, and by the sound of it, I guess those same ones who are doing some silly ads and stuff are just pumping it through. They're not actually getting to know their patient. They're not treating it as a medicinal product, which it's a medicinal product at this stage. This is what you should be treating it as. I mean, even in dispensaries and that, everyone I've ever been in, a legal one, they're pretty, you know, they get to know you a bit. What to do. I mean, there's plenty you just go in and buy the weed, of course. But most of them will actually get to know a little bit about you. I guess the smart ones know they don't want to sell you something that's not going to be work for you. Why would you want to sell something to someone that doesn't work for them? That's only going to actually cause you problems. This is to the prescribers, like, you're fucking stupid. Why wouldn't you get to know your patients? If you have been pumping it out like that and just sort of, you know, just to get the fucking money, then you're idiots, because you have just fucked yourselves, because you've been selling product to people that, you know, that product didn't work for. Whereas if you'd gotten to know them, you could have sold them the product that would work for them, which you've got. You just fucking pumped it through by the sound of it. And so now you've had some problems come back where you've had these clowns who, just don't forget, people don't fucking, you know, some people do need that nanny state shit. That's why it exists, which includes someone holding their hand through telling them what they should and shouldn't smoke, because they're not going to read shit or consume. They want their hand held through. All right. Not checking patient's identity. Okay, that's surprising. Prescribing excessive quantities of medicinal cannabis in each prescription. I don't think that's I think there's something like a maximum of 30 grams or 60 grams a month or something like that. I think it might vary for patients, I suppose. Providing multiple prescriptions for a single patient. Well, you can have multiple prescriptions for other drugs, so why not? I mean, that'll be one for indica and one for sativa, and then one probably for oil. So there's nothing untoward about that, as long as they prescribe for that patient. Not checking real-time prescription monitoring systems and therefore not being aware of other medicines prescribed. Oh, yeah, well, that's right. But that's not all right. I mean, they should. You want to know what people are on before giving them other stuff. I mean, if this is going, that is a problem. And like I say, that'll be the cowboys in there just making money as fast as they can out of this system. And yeah, I mean, they're always the ones who are going to cause problems for everyone else. But I mean, I think it's pretty obvious who those ones were. I've seen a lot of ads on there that were very questionable and stupid looking. I'm guessing they're the ones. Not coordinating care with a patient's other treating practitioners. Okay. Well, well, this is happening because you go to your GP and a lot of them you know, they're stuck in the old way, and they'll a lot of them have an anti-cannabis view, in my opinion, from what I've seen. Look, it's just they don't know, because you ask them one or two questions, they know nothing about cannabis. All they've been taught is that it's bad, so that's what they stick with. And then you talk to someone who's actually educated on the subject, and different, of course. Having a conflict of interest by only prescribing the product supplied by the company the practitioner is associated with. That would definitely be happening, but I know the one mob I tried was like that, and I stopped because I didn't like that. And I found another mob, and yeah, I mean, they don't, it's not monopolized in that way, which is what you want, because you need access to what works for you. And that's that for that one. Well, that's a good one. That's a long one. That's recent. That's this morning, 4 hours ago. So there you go. We're going to see some changes there. I think you probably already have. I haven't, like I say, I don't really scroll the social media too much, but I'm sure the ads have been disappearing from the wall. And this was the veteran ones that was linked there too. So they specifically were sort of saying that they were like veterans targeted by medicinal businesses. Okay, so I haven't seen this myself, but if you remember, like I was saying before, I did do that. Well, that live feed, I think it was last year actually, about the Veterans Access page. Well, we went through their page together about them veterans giving access to medicinal cannabis under certain conditions, and we went through that because a veteran had asked me some questions about that, because they had heard something about it. So I looked it up, and that's why we went through that page together, which is still up there somewhere if you have a look. But that's it's not advertising, it was going through that information. But apparently, according to this article here, they have been advertising the fact that if you're a veteran, you can access it. I'll find it in a sec. Here, veterans are being targeted by social media ads offering access to free medicinal cannabis, funded by the Department of Veteran Affairs. They do have some kind of, the DVA does have some kind of access scheme, I believe. Well, they did when I went through their website last year there. We won't have a look at that today. I'll recap on Friday. Veteran can supplied medicinal cannabis to a man with a record of cannabis addiction who ended up in borderline psychosis and kept sending it even after he told them he was addicted. So this is where I was up to when I realised I'd left you behind before. Yeah, so that sounds wrong, of course. If he's telling you that he thinks he's got a problem with the medicinal cannabis, and then they still keep sending it. I don't know. I guess we need to know more. But still, either way, there seems to be some issue there with the way it was being prescribed. Another patient was bombarded with text to book an appointment, as the DVA confirms it funded 35.99 million of medicinal cannabis. So your Department of Veteran Affairs spent $39.99 million on medicinal cannabis last year for veterans with PTSD and stuff like that. And other things, I guess. We all know a lot of veterans have used it for decades. I mean, it can be good for them, obviously, which is why they've used it. But obviously there's some issue there if old mate has been sort of telling them, look, this isn't working for me. They've kept sending it for whatever reason. Seems a bit odd. I guess. I hope they haven't been doing that, because that does seem a bit odd, because that means that what they've done is they've decided to go, fuck it, The DVA is paying for it, just keep sending it, which isn't right. Because old mate could have just stopped paying for it, couldn't it? And they wouldn't send it anymore. So I'm guessing that's what happened there. He was stuck in a loop. where he, well, I don't know, that seems a bit odd. Couldn't he just get the DVA to cancel it? It seems a bit odd. Seems a bit of an odd story. Think about it, because yeah, why wouldn't you just get the DVA to cancel it if they wouldn't cancel it for you? Maybe there'll be more. So what have we got here? What's this one? 4:16 a.m. a Brisbane Navy veteran is desperately messaging the company which prescribes and sends him medicinal cannabis. Yeah. I am addicted to THC and I shouldn't be using it. I feel like I am having a mental health crisis and breakdown, he pleads, hoping to put an end to the shipments. Okay. It had been a swift downward spiral for 35-year-old Bill after he was targeted with a Facebook advertisement by the company Veteran Can. Okay, so that's okay, gotcha. The ads offered free access to natural therapies and claimed it was backed by the Department of Veterans DVA, despite his history of cannabis addiction being well documented with the DVA. Bill was sent more than... Okay. Well, that might be an issue, because I do recall when we went over the Department of DVA's page about their medical cannabis access, I do remember there was a clause in there basically saying that one of the reasons they wouldn't pay for your medical cannabis as a veteran is if you had a history of cannabis addiction. But it sounds like they've ignored that and done it anyway. But why would the DVA do that? Why would they? I mean, surely I would have thought they would have been trying to check the outgoing expenditures. The 14 bottles, 6 containing the psychoactive... Hold on, what's this? Despite the history of cannabis addiction, Bill was sent more than $1,700 worth of medicinal cannabis in less than a month after just one call with a veteran can doctor. So 14 bottles for $1,700. That sounds pretty fucking good. 700 bucks, 14 bottles. Look at those bottles are about like 200 almost. I won 90, 200 bucks each. Most of those oil bottles. I think something like that. Well, the ones I've seen, yeah, so I guess that's not bad. I guess it's subsidised or something. In less than a month after just one call with veteran can doctor. 14 bottles, 6 containing the psychoactive ingredient tetrahydrocannabinol, yep, cannabinol, were paid for by the DVA. That was when I thought, wow, these guys might be a bit dodgy here. I can't believe they're sending me it so quickly. What? You asked for it, buddy. Haven't you? Despite his history, hold on. Because I know they always ask you. They say, do you want this and that? So he's gone and said, yeah, I'll take 14 bottles. Is this guy set up or something? Because now, like, as he's got them, then he's turned around. Weird. Struggling with his mental... Well, he's got issues, doesn't he? So, I suppose. Unfortunately. What is chronic pain. Oh, chronic pain as well. And newborn, so it's not going well for Bill. Well, he's got a newborn baby, which would be good, I suppose. Some days Bill would drink entire bottles of the oil, which should have lasted almost... Yeah, but that's abusing the drug. It's not having it as you prescribe. So how's that the administrators? I know I've known other people who've abused endones and things. Knew one loser, he abused it so much, he had to actually go up there daily to get it, because he was such a fucking hopeless cunt. Maybe that's what this fella needs. He needs to have daily access where he can just go to the medical centre when they go, well, this is what you get today, mate. That's it. Because that's what happens with other patients on other drugs who abuse them and have, problems. If you're having problems, then you're going to have it, distributed like that, because that's what happens. These people will go and have the whole lot, and it's less, of any drug. They'll actually have it all in a time frame that they shouldn't. It's meant to last. But no, let's go back one step here, because you would drink entire bottles of the oil, which should have lasted almost a month. So this is that's why I wanted to go back for a sec. So why are they sending him 14 bottles, which they last? That's more than a year's worth, according to that. Why would you send someone more than a year's worth of fucking shit at once? Seems a bit odd. Within weeks, he was in a borderline drug, drinking a bottle a day of oil. Had sick leave from work and told his wife, who was caring for their baby, he felt like a fucking zombie. I bet you felt like a fucking zombie, mate. You're having a bottle of oil every day, and I'm imagine from the oils, they're saying they're pretty good. They're 50-50, I believe. So, you're just a drug addict, mate. That's nothing to do with the other guy. I mean, they sound like they fucked up here because you're a drug addict and they didn't fucking get to know you. They didn't get to know you, mate, and it's not. Anyway, it is there. It's a to get to know you. Everyone, like I say, all the doctors I've ever spoken to actually do get to know you. So if these guys have been pumping it through like that, well, they've done it. They've been doing it for the wrong reasons. Veterans represent a lucrative market for medicinal cannabis companies. I bet they do, I suppose, because it's funded. I guess that's why. The DVA fully funds medical. So the DVA fully funds medical cannabis. Where'd it go? For veterans with specific conditions when other treatments have failed, and where there is evidence of clinical benefit. Yeah, we've gone through the article. I'll try and link to the old video. It's a bit rawer than we're getting now. As you can see, I'm getting more and more into the video and the stuff, and as we go, I'll make it tidier. In the 2023-24 financial year, it spent 35.9. We went over that. 35.99 million to fund medicinal cannabis for 8,455 veterans. A DVA spokesperson confirmed 6% of applications to fund medicinal cannabis products for veterans were rejected. That's a pretty low number, isn't it? Considering, I'd say, well, old mate should have been rejected by the Senate. Well, rejected or just not given that amount. Well, it sounds like he'd still do that. Like I say, it sounds like he's the kind of guy who actually has to go down the road every day to get his medication, or he's going to abuse it no matter what it is. The ABC is, I mean, I'm guessing he's drinking. He'd be an alcoholic. I don't. A lot of veterans are. I mean, it's, they see things. They've done, been places. It'd be hard to deal with. You get it. ABC has spoken to veterans accusing major industry players of exploitive behaviour, including questionable marketing tactics, late night texts offering a free medicinal cannabis and ads targeting them through veteran support groups. So what's this? A late night text apparently. Oh, this is Billy again though. Hello, how may I help you? I should have laughed. So this is like the that's not a late night text, is it? That's the text you get when you're on the website or something, isn't it? That's what that is. And he's replied to say this. Maybe they thought it was a bot. It sounds like a bot. If I read that, I would think that was a bot. I'm addicted to just go, these fucking bots. Army veteran Sandra started the process to access. Oh, here's another one. Okay. Army veteran Sandra started the process to access medicinal cannabis for chronic pain through Veteran Can this year. She said she had a 20-minute consultation with a nurse before being prescribed cannabis oil containing THC by a doctor she never spoke. Oh, come on. Are these guys some kind of setup or something? Well, you've had a 20-minute consultation. What happened during that? Would you talk a lot of shit or something? Wasn't it a practicing nurse who came prescribe it? All right, I'm gonna have to weigh in on this. I'm going to talk to a couple of people before Friday. We'll have a bit of an update on all this. The Royal Australian College of Psychiatrists warns products which contain high-potency THC, the ingredient which gives users a high, should be avoided due to the risk of psychosis and weak evidence of efficiency. Well, okay. I'm not going to completely disagree with them on this one because, like I say, THC is not. Everyone thinks it is. You know, I did when I was younger too. Thought high THC was everything, but it's not. Go try some of the try really high THC brand, and with low terps. That's what it's got to have terps in there too. It's got to be a terps profile. The THC doesn't just matter, but I guess maybe they, they're quite high too, aren't they? So I don't know. I'm not a fucking practitioner, am I? So we're just talking shit about it and going through the article. Okay, I better scroll up because I'm going a bit low. The Royal Australian College of warns that it should be avoided due to the risk of psychosis and weak evidence of efficiency in most conditions. The DVA requires a written application from a veteran specialist before approving funding for higher doses of THC or for multiple cannabis products. Yeah, okay. Well, they haven't done that with Bill, have they, by the sound of it? Done it. Who knows? It could be more of a story. Invites veterans to use its in-house advocate program. Okay, so veteran can. Okay, this is the not DVA. Invites veterans to use its in-house advocate program to get chronic pain or injury officially accepted by the DVA, as well as access to partnered pain specialists to unlock fully funded treatment, including higher dose THC. Sandra's regular GP, Dr. Kerry Summerscales, is a veteran herself. She specialises in treating veterans and was shocked to see some of the high-strength products her patients had been prescribed by online telehealth companies. I was really quite horrified on a few levels, Dr. Summerscales said. It's like going straight in. Oh yeah, here's your fentanyl patch. Oh, it's not fentanyl. For fuck's sake. Oh yeah, we won't bother trying the Panadol first. Okay. What are we trying first? I'd like to see, put the two side by side and see what the pros and cons of both are side by side. In fact, I'll do some research, see what I can pull up on that. Veteran can booked appointments for both Bill and Sandra with a pain specialist doctor to help get DVA funding for higher doses of THC. Okay, so they did the right thing. By the sound of it. When Sandra didn't follow up, she started receiving texts from a man called Jeff from Veteran Can, offering to help gain free access to medicinal cannabis, including oil flower and gummy bears. The texts were a bit weird because they just kept coming. Okay. I guess that probably is weird, but that may have been a fuck up on their side. They may well have just been automated stuff that they had going on, but not thinking. Like, I don't think they've physically sat there and sent these texts. I think that's been an automated process, it's just happened in the background. But still, yeah. Dr. Summerscale said she was stunned when she saw the messages. I saw it as downright badgering, especially when you look at the times at 9 o'clock at night. There were texts, she said. Okay, I'd say this is automated text happening, but at the same time, 9 o'clock at night's wrong. but they're obviously trying to go for a target time there. I get that. But yeah, if the person's not expressed interest in it, they really shouldn't be following it up, I guess. I've never had any of them actually follow me up if I've just not ahead of anything. Because I've looked at a few just to see what, test and process. Okay. Let's have a look at the text. Hi. Well, we know her name. Sandra. Hi, Sandra. It was supposed to be anyway. No. Hi, Sandra. Jeff from Veteran Can here. I noticed that you have previously reached out to us. Why they blocked that? Anyway. I wanted to follow up to see if I can assist you in gaining medicinal cannabis free for veterans. All veterans now eligible. Oh, don't know. Please message me if you would like to book a consultation with our nurses to get oil, flour, and gummy bears to you as soon as possible. Apologies for bothering you. However, I want to ensure no veteran misses out. Thanks, mate. Yeah. Yeah, I can see why they're going for them. Well, you fucked up, Jeff. You have been pushing it. I can't see why you would even need to push it. So I guess you're just a greedy cunt. And now it's going to come back on you. Eventually, Sandra replied to Jeff, noting the veteran can hadn't consulted with her GP. Jefferson, normally veteran can doctors don't liaise with GPs before texting again to offer a follow-up call. Like I said, I don't really get those follow-up calls. It's funny that they're doing that. Therein lies the issue. Yeah. Well, veterans do have chronic pain and some of them do have mental health issues and they are vulnerable. Yeah, they should be speaking to their GPs, I reckon. In this particular, the DVA and all that, they should all be speaking together. If you're treating the patient holistically and you're just prescribing the one medication in a 5-minute consult, that's not medicine, and it's what needs to be clamped down. Well, that wasn't a 5 minute. She had a 20-minute consultation, but she didn't go ahead with it, and they followed her up on it. So that's where they fucked up. I get that. They've tried to push, I guess. In a statement, Veteran Can told the ABC Jeff was a trained and experienced veteran advocate, paid for onboarding veterans. Oh, okay. So he's paid. That's why he's pushing it, because he's actually paid for when he gets on. So yeah, this is. There's also Jeff's note is also featured in online groups and stuff, advertising Veteran Can, including several run by registered charity. I'm running out of time here, people. I'm going to have to go. This actually took a lot longer than I thought today. It was meant to be a quick wake and bake, but this is more of a Friday session. I might have to keep going, I suppose. Might have to change my plans for the day. The TGA has strict guidelines banning advertising of prescription medications, including medicinal cannabis, and said it was assessing material provided by the ABC and will take appropriate action. I do know that they did, like I said, a week or two ago, the TGA has changed their guidelines again, and you can't say whatever it was. I can't remember what they were saying again. Now you got to say something else. Here we go. This explains a bit. I didn't know that Veteran Can was owned by Dispensed. Well, this is going to bring them unstuck, because this is getting greedy by the sound of it. And they are one of the ones, actually, I found, unfortunately, who do kind of push you to certain, well, they don't even give you a choice. Young veterans didn't respond to any questions, but all posts referencing, okay, so they've done the right thing and removed all that stuff, because obviously we're just trying to help people, I guess, maybe, because it's not them, is it? They've just shared some information. They thought they were being helpful. Although they do say something about, less than 5 minutes. Mm. I actually prefer it when, if you get one who is quick, it's not, I don't, like I say, I don't really, you go with the ones who actually do talk to you and get to know you and want to know about you a bit, your medical history. A telehealth company, okay, veteran can is owned by Dispensed. Telehealth company under fire after patients with a history of psychosis were prescribed medicinal cannabis by the company. One was hospitalised and the other took his own life. I guess that's the prescription one there about. We'll look at that later. I'll open that up, but that's not for this morning. We'll look at that Friday, maybe later on, if I've got time to go tomorrow. 2 of Dispensed prescribing doctors have been suspended, and the company's founder, Melbourne pharmacist Adam Ride Youngs, has been banned from supplying medicinal cannabis. Okay, some big events happen. It sounds like that's the end of Dispensed, to be honest. Doesn't sound very good for them. And it wasn't actually one of the ones I was thinking of, the advertising. Veteran Can Clinic's registered address in Melbourne, whatever, yeah. Yeah, it's owned by him. Also registered this address is a company owned by Melbourne man Nicholas. What's this? Okay. Veteran Can's clinic registered address is Melbourne pharmacy owned by Mr. Youngs, though through which medicinal cannabis is dispensed to patients. Also registered to this address is a company by Melbourne man Nicholas Riz Panek, with a strikingly similar name, Veteran Can. Oh, okay. Proprietary Limited. Veteran Can Clinic told the ABC the idea for Veterans Advocate service called Veteran Can originally came from Mr. Panek. Okay. That could be. I recognise the face, just can't think. You've all been around the place. Mr. Panek's public Facebook profile features a violent and misogynistic content, including referring to women as. And okay, wait, so you could see it. The ABC has chosen not to publish the post. Yeah, you said that at least. In a statement, Veteran Can moved to distance itself from Mr. Panek. I'd say you would too, saying he's not the director of the entity which currently operates the medicinal cannabis business, but instead worked as a consultant for the company. I'd fucking distance myself from him too, mate, and he should have done it a while ago by the sound of his fucking Facebook page. We immediately ceased our working relationship with Mr. Panek after the ABC alerted us to the abhorrent and misogynistic content on his Facebook page. The company said, well, good. How were you not aware of that before? Mr. Panek's Facebook page, being that involved with him, how were you not? Yeah, so he took it off. Of course he did. I need help. 12 hours after Veteran Can patient messaged the company saying he was having a mental health crisis, he received a reply. I hope this email finds you well. It began, I can see you were consulted on the 3rd of October. If you have not received your, okay, so they're just standard follow-up shit going on by the looks of it. It is advised to go to an emergency department if you had an urgent medical. It advised him. Okay, so there's more in the email they've left out there. But it advised him to go to an emergency department if he had an urgent medical situation. Close that. Whoops. Situation, where was I? Sorry. There we are. That email felt like it was computer generated or AI. Well, it is by the sound of it. It's automatic replies going on, isn't it? Bill said he took full responsibility for abusing the medication, okay, but felt vulnerable veterans were being preyed upon. Yeah, if they are. I've contacted DVA and told them how you guys should stop funding this for me. And okay, well, he's done that. Okay, and your team made a mistake here by letting this go from the DVA. Well, I guess, yeah, if he's got that, they did. But then you applied for it, buddy. I know. The DVA said in a statement its funding framework ensured applications that do not meet the requirements have not been approved for funding. Okay. He's obviously slipped through somehow. Okay, so the shit hit the fan. That's all happening today. He's been, in the days following the statement, Bill received the third parcel from veteran. Okay. So they kept sending shit. Oh, that's no good for old mate. So yeah, a bit of mainly it looks like all around that. So the veterans is all to do with this, you know what I mean? That sort of kicked off the interest in clamping down on the advertising that's going on, the perhaps lax prescribing process from some of the telehealth companies. But in my experience, most of them actually are quite professional and do the job properly. We went over that one. Yeah, that was the News Corp. And that was everything in the news. But this one I did find interesting, but I'll go over that one separately as well, I think, which is because it's an older article actually, but I'm going to share this one because my partner actually has some issues there as well, so it might be interesting. And I do know a lot of women have that issue or associated. But it is actually an older article. I just didn't notice it. But we'll go over that as well. It's been updated. It might be something newer I can find as well. Anyway, folks, it's been good. Been a good wake and bake. I was here a bit longer than I actually planned to be. Actually a lot longer than I planned to be when I look at that. Sorry about that. But hopefully we learn a few things. Enjoy it. Thanks for following, and if you haven't already, subscribe, notify, join us on Patreon, do all that.